Welcome to Daly's Video Experience Pioneers series. I'm Pete Hawks, Head of Design at Daly. Interactive real-time video is rapidly changing how we interact with products and services online. In this series, we'll speak with design experts at the forefront of this revolution. Today, we speak with Head of Design at Playback, an innovative platform that lets you watch live sports online with your friends. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for joining me today. I am here today with Rob Young, Head of Design at Playback. I am Head of Design at Daly, and this is another session in our Video Experience Pioneers series. Playback is a really exciting customer of ours. They're doing some amazing things, but maybe Rob, I'll have you say a little bit more about that. I'm curious how you got here. What brought you to be head of design at Playback?
Yeah. First off, thank you so much for having me. The Playback team's really excited to be involved with Daily, and it's nice to be able to talk a little bit more about what we're doing. So thank you for that. Yeah, and as far as how I got here, I think from a design perspective, came from New York City, kind of sharpened my teeth at a digital design studio, was able to kind of figure out which aspects of the design process I was most interested in, touching a lot of different pieces, and then from there moving in-house to Vimeo, being able to work with video products, be a part of a digital product team and see how things operate and function at that level. And then from there going to become an independent designer, independent consultant, where I was able to kind of pick and choose which projects were interesting to me, which things I wanted to spend more and more time on. And one of those projects ended up being Playback. So our CEO, RJ, came to me with a few ideas, a few design needs, and the first few iterations of what Playback was able to kind of work together. And once Playback kind of found its niche, figured out what we were, that's when I joined full time. So it was a nice journey of like being able to test the waters and know that this is something I care about and it's been fun and interesting. Yeah, it's been a nice way to get there.
And your particular role in the product as head of design, what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, day to day, I kind of wear two hats, like being involved in product design and making sure we're kind of deciding with the product team what we're building and why we're building it. But then also the flip side, which is our brand design. So who we are as Playback, how we communicate with the world, and that dives into marketing and our email campaigns and all that. So it's been a nice balance being able to kind of bounce between those and bring some insights from either across the board. But we have another product designer who's basically in the weeds every day, working on a kind of very robust design system and iterating on new features all the time. So we're lucky to have them, and making a lot of progress there.
Oh, fantastic. And I realized maybe we should state a little bit more plainly what Playback does.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Playback essentially lets you watch live sports with a community. And we've found the most success when a creator is the one hosting that experience. So they're bringing in their community. Oftentimes, they're a fan of a very specific team, and they're coming in to watch that live event, reacting in real time, discussing, having alternate commentary, really just enhancing the digital viewing experience of that event.
Oh, that's amazing. And did the origins of the idea, did it come out of some other product or endeavor, or why now for Playback?
Right. So I think there were a lot of different ideas workshopped about kind of figuring out who we were and what we were doing. There were workshopping ideas around highlights, but ultimately the goal was always to change how people watch sports. And we basically I took the pandemic as an opportunity to lean into the social interaction aspect, to lean into, people being disconnected from each other and having a way to kind of bring that together. But what we found is this isn't, it's not a temporary thing. Like people crave that connection and that interaction. Um, and oftentimes you're watching sports at home alone anyway. So
Right.
it's not like now that things have opened back up that this has gone away. We've seen almost an increase in this type of usage.
That's yeah, that makes sense in a lot of ways. We're kind of searching for new ways to connect.
Yeah.
And I know that working with video, live video in particular, is hard. It's challenging
Mhm.
work. I know, especially on the engineering side. Is it the same with design in your experience? Like, how does experience design change when you're working with live video as the medium?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think video has its own challenges. I think users and people have very specific expectations on how video is supposed to work, and they all have their own experiences on this thing that's been around on the internet for a long time now. So I think we could lean on kind of past experiences and past UX to kind of help us with those kind of easier questions, but we also have to be very cautious about and being deliberate with how that flows and how people are using the product, because people are very particular in that front.
Nice. And I know you're on the design side, but how did you end up choosing Daily as your platform?
Yeah, I think our engineering team could speak to this a little bit better than me, but I do know that what Daily offered out of the box made it so that we could focus on aspects of the business or aspects of our product that helped us differentiate instead of focusing on these core features, these table stakes features. Some would say, like, as a way of to having building blocks for us that we could then focus on some of these differentiating features.
That's great. Ultimately, that's our goal. So happy to hear that.
Yeah, cool.
I'd love to spend some time on the interactive aspects of Playback.
Mhm.
Can you tell me more about the kinds of affordances you've designed for creators on your platform?
Yeah, creators specifically is kind of our one of our key targets. So we are one, we're building an experience for like the masses and people to experience this live sporting event. But at the end of the day, we're also building tools for creators to kind of put on these events and these shows. So we're kind of competing a little bit with some of these more convoluted, more specific, uh, higher fidelity, like creator tools that they're using to kind of broadcast. And one of our goals is for anyone to be able to be a creator on Playback, making our interface simple enough that anyone could, produce this high quality show while still being kind of powerful enough to compete with those other pieces of software. So um, lowering the barrier for entry, making it really intuitive to say what you want to say, broadcast what you want to broadcast, and really, yeah, ultimately put on a production.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure it leads to a lot of new and unexpected personalities and experiences. um,
Absolutely.
and how about audience members? So for those that are tuning in, can they do more than watch the stream?
Yeah, they could if they wanted to. They could just watch the stream, but it's basically as much as you want to interact, you can. You can send messages, ask creators questions. You
Hmm.
could request to join the stage and have that video conference kind of while the game is going on with his specific creator. Um, there's some fun elements we've brought in from kind of other sports entities. Like we have this feature called Fire and Ice, where it's almost like NBA Jam, where a certain creator can go on fire just to
Ah,
kind of show some love for a good point or something good happening. Um, but yeah, I think we're continuously thinking about ways we can increase that social experience, and there's a lot of exciting ideas we have on that front. Hopefully, coming pretty soon.
do you have uh, I imagine a feedback mechanism from your from your creators? How frequently do they request new features and and other bits?
Yeah, we have a pretty active Discord community.
Mm.
And we invite all of our creators there, and it's kind of an open forum for them to request features, let us know when something's not working. Um, and oftentimes, yeah, it's things we really want to get to that we just haven't gotten to yet. We know that creators are going to want it, and we get those types of requests. And yeah, we try and survey pretty often. Our product lead Kevin does a really great job of kind of having a direct line with all of these creators to make sure that we're getting enough input to kind of define our roadmap.
Oh, that's great. I know, I mean, going to a live event, it's hard to substitute that directly. Um,
Mhm.
but would you say are there elements of playback that offer maybe a better experience than you could get live?
Yeah, yeah. I think amplifying those feelings is kind of a thing that happens at a sporting event. The highs are really high, the lows are really low. But I think on playback, I like a real world example is almost like when someone would go to a baseball game and have their headphones in and be listening to the broadcast just to get a little extra context.
Oh yeah.
Where on playback, you're kind of always getting that. You're getting the extra context from the creator that you want to watch with. So what they're talking about is often the thing that you care about. So you're picking up on things that maybe the TV broadcast isn't talking about. Whether it's a specific play or something happening in the stands or whatever. It adds a different wrinkle that I think enhances the experience.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I guess, there are certain friends and family that I really enjoy watching live sports with, whether it's at the game or on the TV, primarily because they add a different flavor or a different energy or passion to that experience. So I see exactly what you mean there.
Right,
Um,
right. Sometimes it's just an energy, and sometimes it's an insight. Like, oh, I wasn't thinking about it in that way, and you're learning something. And yeah, you could. I've I've found I've become a better watcher of basketball because I'm learning more about the X's and O's with some of these creators. So
oh,
it's been fun.
yeah. I'll bet. Have you observed any unexpected behaviors from creators or audience members on your platform? Any emergent behavior that you didn't plan on?
Yeah, I think one of the more surprising things has been how some creators, like whether they're a very specific, a fan of a specific team, could then go on and watch anything else with their community, and their community's on board and are along for the ride. Um,
Oh,
yeah, if it's a basketball community that has gotten to know each other, and then the creator's like, "Hey guys, we're watching NASCAR today," and everybody's excited and in for the ride together. It's been nice to just see that is in a channel to kind of introduce people to something new, um, because
that,
the creator is the person you trust to kind of bring you on that ride.
what is next for Playback? Anything exciting that we could tease our audience with?
Yeah, I mean, some of the things we are just really excited about are continuing to grow and get in front of more and more people. So we just launched our iOS app, which has been
Mm,
huge for us.
cool.
Android is very close to coming out, and pushing into TV apps is kind of our next big milestone.
Uh,
So we feel that we have this product that has some product market fit, and we know that people watch elsewhere. People tend to watch live sports on their big TV.
mhm.
So being able to bring that experience to other devices is one of the kind of table stakes things that needs to happen, but we are really excited about. And then the other kind of big piece that we're working on currently and should be out pretty soon is discovery. So making sure that our creators are able to kind of grow with the platform and be discovered, and have people be able to come to playback.tv, see what's popular now, what's trending, what's live, and just kind of expand our current viewership.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's the best way today if I wanted to see what's available on Playback? I've seen a lot of activity on Twitter, like social media. I
Mhm.
see feeds coming through, but are there other mechanisms that our audience could use to check it out?
Right. So I think part of that is just as we have just slowly come out of beta,
Hmm.
keeping it more of a closed loop. was what was happening. And now that we've kind of pushed in, and as soon as discovery is live, that will be the best way to find kind of your creator. But currently, our users have traditionally come from existing communities of these creators. So if you follow the Dunker Spot, the basketball podcast, like, hey, we're
Mhm.
going to watch the game tonight. That's where they'll come and congregate. So it's been really like creator first in that
Mhm.
regard. But very soon you'll be able to kind of, all right, I'm interested in this concept. Let me find who I'd like to watch with, and that'll be there very soon.
Have it, are your creators primarily fans, or have you had sporting organizations like teams and others check out the platform?
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely been talks
Mhm.
with certain teams and athletes and things like that.
Mm.
Our bread and butter has really been the kind of sports creator, the person who has a podcast or has a blog,
Mhm.
has started to build a community or knows they want to build a community. Um, but yeah, we are really excited by the idea of, and this has shown up in a few instances where, an athlete on the team that you're currently watching has joined the stage on playback and is giving insight and kind of is like a guest commentator for a little bit. Um, so I really do think there is opportunity to kind of have this be more closely connected directly to the leagues and the teams and those organizations.
No, that's great. You're clearly killing it on the sports side. I can see that your fans are thrilled, both on social media and other places. Do you? I know your focus is sports, but you considered moving beyond sports, presidential debates, or reality TV?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen some creators go this route and talk about different topics, and we have a functionality where you're able to kind of just pull up a YouTube stream or screen share. So it's about like kind of creating these events, and these creators can make that about anything that they want. So I think comes down to content rights for some of those other entities, but yeah, we've definitely seen kind of even requests for, hey, can we watch The Bachelor together, and that type of concept. So I I don't think it's exclusive to sports. It's
Hmm.
it's community building. It's kind of finding this connection over something else. Um, yeah, so excited on that front.
No, that's great. It seems that video is more and more. It's not just about device capability, although I'm sure that plays a lot with it. We carry these, powerful computers around in our pockets now that can
Right,
stream
right,
for many hours. But it seems like increasingly content on the web is more and more video dense. Um,
right.
so it's really nice to see platforms like yours taking advantage of that particular trend. Um, Yeah, what advice would you give other startups that are designing video experiences in their products or services?
Yeah, yeah. I think video is definitely one aspect, but I think making sure that you're tying what you're building directly to a specific person you're building it for. Why are you making the decision you're making? And I think having that in mind up front and thinking about what value you're providing essentially puts you on the right track to come up with an original idea and original concept. So spending way more time thinking about why we're doing something and who we're doing it for, and then kind of either backing into what the answer must be because of uh, these kind of requirements up front. Uh, yeah, it really helps to come up with something that's new. And I think a lot of people often want how do I make something that's original, and maybe look at other aspects, but it's kind of like doing that upfront foundational work to really understand uh, why you're doing what you're doing.
Ah, thanks. Appreciate the advice. And Rob, it's been a pleasure. This chat has been enlightening. I'm excited to see what's next for Playback. I know plenty of my friends get really excited when I tell them about your platform and what it's doing. And yeah, thank you again for the time, and looking forward to more.
Awesome. Thank you so much.